It's my pleasure now to introduce our sponsors, in particular the four major sponsors for our conference: Fernweh, Konica Minolta, Cyclone and Noel Leeming. Together, they are enabling change in the modern learning environment. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Richard Jenkins. I'm the Director of Sales at Fernweh, and it's fantastic to be the major sponsor of the convention this week. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the Catholic community for the partnerships many of you have formed with Fernweh over the years. We're proud to be a New Zealand family-owned business into our 81st year of operation. I also want to make a special thank you to Maureen and the Catholic Education Office for your organisation. It's a fantastic venue, and I want to thank the locals for putting on some signature Wellington weather for us today. I'm sure some of us had some interesting landings this morning. Well, in the last 5 years, we've seen a real transformation in schools with the evolution of learning spaces. There is now an awareness of the physical environment as a third teacher and the impact that this has on behaviour, engagement and the collaboration levels of our young learners. There is now an emphasis on what is referred to as modern learning environments or innovative learning environments, which incorporates not only the physical but most importantly the teaching. To put it simply, from a furniture perspective, this has seen desks and chairs gradually disappearing to make way for more flexible and collaborative furniture, including group tables, whiteboard surfaces and standing height tables, for example. But as we know, it is not that simple, and it is certainly not about making change for change's sake. It is about understanding the why. For example, is it greater teacher collaboration or learner agency or both? And from there, we need to better understand and define the how, the why and the what. I heard a great analogy at the Christchurch Principals meeting last week, that the MLE journey is like trying to climb Mount Everest. We can't all rush straight to the top. Some try, but it is vital that we are prepared and are making the journey together so that we can support each other along the way. And that might mean taking more time to assemble at base camp. For more on this, I'll be part of a spotlight session with Andrew Comrie from Core Education and Rob Giller from the Ministry of Education on Friday. It's called Modern Learning Environments and the Challenges Faced, to further workshop the how, the why and the what. But furniture is only a part of this puzzle, which is why it is important for business partners like us to collaborate, just as it is for you educators. Therefore, I want to introduce Wayne Ebbett from Konica Minolta to talk more about their role. Thank you.
Hello, welcome. As Richard's alluded, I'm Wayne Ebbett with Konica Minolta. And as far as the, here we go. So not too many of you would agree with these devices, but it may be a way to reduce some of those volumes that you were trying to knock down. But we're not just about enabling, but showing change through technological advances. Analog to digital, from mono to colour, the modern day machine is now the hub of the business or the school environment. Hence our nickname, the brand name BizHub, for those of you who are with Konica Minolta or have heard us spouted around before. To enhance our traditional print solutions, we've introduced software as an integrated part of the photocopiers. That's our tradition, little bubble there, our integrated software, and then some new lines that we're looking to inform. So the other products that we're looking at is hardware which is used in the modern day learning environment. Here it comes. They're available through Konica Minolta, and they're all wrapped up in our last bubble, which is a little finance package, so it's easy to put it all together and make it nice and easy for payment, so it's not all upfront cash. These are some of the vendors that Konica work with, and we're tier 1 partners with a lot of big national companies and international companies, so we've got a lot of support behind us with that. And this is probably one of the key things that you're seeing a lot about. Okay, you see this product a lot now and in the future and being used in many ways. So come and see us on the stand to understand just how this is working in some of the schools. We've had some pretty good examples and some learnings going on and just where to start and what to do. It's okay getting one of these things, but knowing what you can do with it is the key. So please, yeah. And if you can't come and see us, when you next time you remember you see one of these Konica Minolta smiley faces, these are all our education people up and down the country. Invite them, talk to them, ask them how. But please come and see us on the stand. You'll see some of our smiley faces up there as well. So when you are printing, this is to an end device, okay? But when you're with an end device, you need a place to start and learn, anytime, anywhere. So with that in mind, I'd like to introduce Annika McFarlane from Cyclone.
Thank you. Thanks for having us here today. For those of you who don't know anything about Cyclone, traditionally we sold technology into schools, but now we've branched out. We support schools with IT services, and something that we are working with the Catholic schools on with this conference is around our PD support. So we've got 5 teachers in our team now that support schools with digital learning, and we're all about the pedagogy and about putting the technology where that fits. So we don't come in and say, here's a device, buy it, this is how you use it. We'll come in, we'll work alongside your school, whatever platform you choose to use, we can support you with that, whether it's Google Apps for Education or Office 365 or Apple hardware. And our people then come in and they say, okay, what are you doing in your classrooms? What's important to your school? How do you see teaching and learning, and what's happening in your modern learning environments? And we support you with these devices around teaching and learning. We've got really strong partnerships with Microsoft, HP, Google and Apple, so we can support your school with whatever platform, whatever devices you have in your school. So that's really important to us, that we're not just aligned with one, but we're aligned with all. We've got really high qualifications in our team, so we've got Microsoft Innovative Educators, we've got Google Education trainers and also Apple Education trainers within our team as well, and they are all teachers or were teachers. Within the last 2 years we've just started the team, so everyone's fresh out of education, which is really exciting for us. And it means we also understand the needs and wants of teachers, and that's really, really important to us, and we're working with you. So some of the kind of PD we do, we come into schools and work alongside teachers. With some of the schools here, it's nice to see some friendly faces. We've done some one-on-one PD. We've also run conferences where teachers come along and opt into workshops that are relevant to them. We also hold nationwide events, and we can come in and work with small groups, or we can support the strategy within the school as well, so working with senior leadership teams and things like that. And the stuff that we find is really important to teachers at the moment is around the management of what you're doing with your devices or in your modern learning environment. So it's about understanding how to actually manage this. I've got these devices, we know we're this platform, yes we're a Google Apps school or we're an Office 365 school, but how does it actually look for us as teachers or as our students in that modern learning environment? So all of the resources that we come to you with, we've either actually used with our schools while we were teaching, or we've come across another school and they're using it this way, so we've got a real breadth of knowledge around how to use those things in a relative context. So thank you very much. Come and see us. We've got a stand today. We've got 2 presentations tomorrow and a spotlight on Friday, so thank you for having us. And I'd like to introduce Ben Renell from Noel Leeman.
Thanks, Annika. So if we're talking about enabling change into modern learning environments, one of the probably last pieces of that puzzle, but a real key piece of that puzzle, is the device itself. And I guess what we're here today to try and encourage is for schools to see your suppliers as supply partners, rather than if you've waited until it's time to get a quote and compare us off against each other, you probably miss a bit of a trick for us to be able to add value to you. We're in hundreds of, if not thousands of schools up and down the country. We see the same problems and the same issues and the same solutions. over and over again. So we're really willing to work with our schools to help you through that. And each of us also, in our respective fields, we're exclusively in education. So we can really work with you to provide solutions within the school. The bit I was going to cover quickly today, I know I'm standing between you and lunch, so I'll make it quick. Was a few key ways, and really, if you're purchasing devices, there's three ways that's really happening at the moment, and that's either through bulk school purchasing of school-owned devices. You may be looking at a BYD program, or you may have already implemented a BYD program that you're looking to expand, or the new beast, I guess, is this what we refer to as mass organised BYOD, which is through trust or cluster or backbone models, which we're working a lot with at the moment now. Again, I would suggest that you may have a mix of that, and you could work with your suppliers to help with what that mix looks like. If you're looking at school-owned devices, you're probably looking at leasing. We can help you through the pitfalls and the benefits of leasing. We have, and within Noel Learning, we've got 26 account managers up and down the country, but our mantra is local store, local school. We've got 79 stores, so we are the closest electronics retailer to the majority of schools in the country. But what we do is we layer over the top of that a commercial account manager who will make sure that you've got Apple Education reseller pricing, that you've got expert advice on leasing and all these other things. So we can help with the school purchasing side of things. And this is a pretty picture of a school evening with a BYD event, and I won't cover all of this, but the key thing I would say is work with a retailer or a BYD partner to shift all your problems onto them or onto us. If you tell parents, if you give parents specs, they will bring the school and ask you what sort of device should they buy, where should they buy it from and how much. Again, I would suggest be on the front foot, come and work with us first. We'll set up a program with you. We'll do our best to make sure the pricing is right, but it is pretty competitive out there. We will make sure that the parents have an understanding before they go down to the store of how much they have to spend, which sets a price in the minds of the parents. And our stores are trained not to upsell in education or on BYOD. It's to work with the school on a BYOD solution. And my tip here behind me, sorry we haven't got the slides in front of us, so it's a little more difficult, but the one tip I'd give you on BYOD, and this isn't necessarily fit for everyone, so get us involved in the conversation early, but the one tip would be to limit the number of devices. If you want to put a barrier up to change in your school, I suggest telling a teacher who's a bit fearful of technology that they're going to get 30 different devices coming into the classroom in 3 months' time, right? So we can work, and some schools aren't comfortable with telling parents what device they have to have, so we can work with you to help steer that device choice by promoting certain packages at the right price and things like that. So in the interest of moving on, I'll just very briefly touch on the whole trust model. This is starting to gain momentum across the country. It's generally going to be sort of a centrally managed, mass organised purchasing program. There's things to be aware of that they really should be rooted in pedagogy. It's very important that that's the key driver and the device sort of follows in behind that. And our real key driver when working with these trusts and clusters is it's got to be long-term sustainable. So is it legislatively compliant? Does it fit with consumer finance laws? All these sorts of things. So we've worked really hard to understand that, and we can work with you on that. Occasionally they can be prescriptive, so they're not necessarily right for everyone. But again, we can help consult with you on if that's the right thing to do. The last point is back to, I guess, my first point. We sent a survey around prior to the conference, and 80% of the respondents said that a lack of budget was the key barrier to getting to encouraging change within the school and working towards a modern learning environment. So again, we talk a lot about collaboration within our schools, but I would encourage you to collaborate with your supply partners and encourage them to collaborate with each other. Despite the fact we might fiercely compete on some grounds, we actually get on really well together, and we're very willing to work within a school and collaborate with you. So I guess the last point is that we're all presenting here together today because we want to show a united front that we want to work and collaborate with you as schools to get the maximum benefit out of having technology and devices in schools and helping you spend that limited budget right. So again, we're in Old Leeming. I'll probably say more about how we all work together than Old Leeming itself. But please come visit us on the stand. We're giving away an HP X360 if you fill in which is worth about $650 if you fill in our form. So please come and see us. We'd love to talk to you about BYD and other things. I'm sure I've run over time, but on behalf of all the sponsors, thank you very much to NZ CEO and to all the schools for having us here. We look forward to seeing you. Enjoy lunch.